So I already am there.
Are we going to start? Yep.
Be the host, you can let people.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome. Tonight we're covering the human miracle. It's number 37 of 52, and it's on the heart. And tonight, Mynoo Maryel is going to share the 7 secrets that enable you to support the ongoing recovery and restoration of your heart muscle, how you can leverage this understanding to further strengthen your heart. And I think we're in store. There are several surprises for us tonight. Introducing Mynoo. Mynoo Maryel, are you there?
Just a second. You need to keep talking a little bit while I get the Facebook Live complete.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, how is it? It's wonderful to see everyone. I'm in Mexico City tonight and for the next few weeks. Yeah. So with love from Mexico. And I believe Mynoo is in India. Everyone else is on mute.
Yes, that's how it normally is. So here.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
No, Gail was attempting to share something or say hello, I think.
Okay, here we are. All about the heart today in the context of the human miracle. So let's begin. Sarah, you know, this is it is an interactive session. So if there's anything that shows up for you that you want to bring up, then you ask, and I will at the appropriate time interrupt my flow and address it. Any of you have any questions or observations, put them in the chat and Sarah will bring them up. And I'm going to begin. There's quite a lot of content that has come through. So let's see what emerges. Yes, I'm in India. I'm at my cousin's place right now. I mean, of course, the heart is one of the building blocks, right? You would assume that, you would expect that. And it is. It's what emerged in terms of understanding the nuances that are hidden within the heart is what I'm excited to share. I mean, what came through to me was it is really the 7 secrets that are hidden in the heart. And it enables us, understanding of these secrets enables us to support the ongoing recovery and restoration of our heart. So it's good to understand the heart in its fullness, and that is what this particular session is about. The first one is our heart is a muscle. You know, at a physiological level, it's a muscle. So it contracts, it relaxes, and a muscle calls to be toned, and it is constantly doing its aerobics, contraction, relaxation. That's happening on an ongoing basis. There are times where it could benefit from increasing the pace, but if you increase the pace, keeping going at that increased pace will exhaust the muscle. So it's important to have that little bit of a break and a breather that is called for from time to time. And that's why you have these exercises where, you know, for 1 minute you sprinting, and then for 1 minute you relax, or 2 minutes you relax, and 1 minute again, and 2 minutes you relax. We do this when we are in physical training. But as we understand the heart fully, we realize that it isn't just physical movement that gets the heart muscle going. You know, that's its role. it's there and it operates in the form of a muscle, contracting, relaxing. And okay, it's good to do it, in a concerted way from time to time. That's great. But the key thing is this muscle never stops. It keeps going. It keeps going. It keeps going. It is a muscle like no other muscle. It is a muscle that has got these 7 hidden secrets, which means it performs a whole variety of roles to just in terms of our physical being, but it is also a full spectrum being, which I'm going to talk more about. But even at a physiological level, the fact that heart is a muscle, the divine is amazing in the way this human body is constructed, that to support the heart, to enable the heart to get a little bit of respite, because heart is affected by emotions, by your mental state, by your social interactions, by your connection or disconnection from the spiritedness of you, by your environment, as much as it is impacted physiologically with your choice of activities, with a choice of food, with your choice of, whatever it is that you choose to ingest. So to support that, we have actually been given a second heart. And we have a second heart. And the connection between the heart as we know it in our chest and the second heart is exact. So it's a very, very good idea from time to time to activate your second heart and give the heart in your chest a little bit of a breather. So then it will just keep maintaining its rhythm. But the second heart provides that extra pumping action. So what is the second heart? That's that's a second secret, which is what is the second heart? The second heart, and where is the second heart? And how do the two connect? And how do you actually work with the second heart? Your second heart is in your calf muscles. This is where the diverticular vein is, which connects to the heart. So, there are several situations where, like when people fly a lot, a clotting can occur in the diverticular vein, has a direct impact on the heart. A clot in the diverticular vein is as severe as one or several of your arteries being clogged. Now, the good news is the second heart, you provide a pumping action every time you walk. Now, you could very specifically pump the second heart. So if you're being stationary for an extended period of time, not only does it have an impact on bringing lethargy to your lymphatic system, it also has an impact on putting pressure on the heart in your chest, as the heart that you know. So consciously pumping the second heart is extremely important. So how do you pump the second heart? The way to pump the second heart is by tapping your toes. And there is a way in which you tap your toes, which is you lift your toes up and heels are down, drop your toes down, lift your heels up. So you can do it while you're sitting down, right here, right now. So lift your toes up, toes down, heels up, heels down, toes up, toes down, heels up, heels down, toes up, toes down, heels up, heels down, toes up, toes down, heels up, heels down. You can do it sitting down. And you can do it faster. You will actually feel, just like when you're doing aerobics, that heartbeat starts to rise, you will feel that. Now that's you actively pumping it. When you're standing up, I'm just going to stand up. Let's see how much we can capture me standing up. So you're doing the same, toes up, heels up, toes up, heels up, toes up, heels up. So automatically the toes go down as your heels go up, right? So you don't have to do it fast. So you can, if you're feeling tense or out of sorts, you can just do it gently. And that starts to regroup you. You start to restore that calmness within you. Just have a go and do this. So that's the good news. We actually do have a second heart that we have been provided to support the heart in our chest. The third one is that heart is a brain too. I know that I certainly received it as a download, that we have three brains. We have the mind brain, the heart brain, and the gut brain. Heart is a brain too. The heart has a complex intrinsic nervous system, and it is sufficiently sophisticated to qualify it as a little brain in its own right. It has an intricate network of several types of neurons, neurotransmitters, proteins, and support cells, very similar to find in the brain proper. This has been researched, written about, talked about. Now, that's physiologically the heart, whilst being a muscle, also has not muscle, all muscles do not have that intrinsic nervous system or neurotransmitters. Our brain is very, very, very sophisticated, as is the heart. Now, that's physiological. Just like our brain that we have in our heads has a mind, which is more of an energetic presence. And the mind that is connected to our head brain, I call it the mind brain, operates with a very specific intention of survival. And therefore, it is oscillating between the past and the future. Because neither the past nor the future is real, our mind brain operates from thoughts. And those thoughts are generated from our past experience or whatever it is that we have, put into our future. The thoughts are all, overarching context of the thoughts is survival. The heart brain, and so just going back before I go to the heart brain. So because the context is survival, the connection from the mind brain to all of our organs and the instructions that go in through the neurotransmitters are all around whatever is essential for survival. The heart brain. The heart brain is about stationing us in our center. It is all about the now. So whilst the mind brain oscillates, and it's very deeply impacted physiologically, the neurons of your mind brain and the nerve and the neurotransmitters are directly impacted by your emotions. by social dynamics, by the environment, because all of that impacts survival in some form, the heart neurotransmitters always bring you back into here and now, in here and now, here and now. And they do it beat by beat by beat. So this whole idea about living in the now, physiologically, our body is gifted with the rhythm of being in the now. And that rhythm is expressed through the beats of the heart. And it is the beating of the heart that spreads through its neurotransmitters into different parts of our body, enabling you to see a very different perspective of reality. So when I talk about what is a miracle, remember, I'm about, the game I'm playing is humans and humanity connected to expecting and accepting miracles as the norm. The heart is your indicator of miracles because it keeps you in the now. In the moment of now, there is only a miracle because miracle is something beautiful occurs that makes your heart sing. As long as your heart is beating, that is the song of the heart. A miracle is right here. So the heart itself, as the brain, transmits that understanding and that knowing that, hey guys, I'm singing. Whatever may have occurred has occurred. Your mind brain may be going crazy because, it starts to, we start giving meaning to it because of what might happen in the future, or we give meaning to it based on, oh, this has always happened to me before, and here it is again. Those meanings are the ones that take you away from the now. Now, meaning-making machine is your mind. And that also is necessary because if we don't survive, then we don't have life. And we don't have the opportunity to come alive. Because life is a state in which an organism is breathing. And the breath shows up in the way it does. The heart provides a pumping action for the breath to occur. They both have very, very different impact on the body. Now, once you understand that the heart is a brain too, we do stuff to relax our brain, the mind brain as we know it. We do stuff to pump up the heart as a muscle. We don't do stuff with the conscious intention of calming the heart brain. And you could. The thing is, the heart brain is engaged in what it's engaged in. It's very factual, very rhythmic, and that's what it does. Boom, boom, boom. It's beating. And it has a whole variety of actions that it engages in, that it causes as a result of beating. The heart has no emotions. It is not impacted by emotions. It is, as in Sanskrit, they would say, a karma yogi, a yogi whose intention is to keep working and being very focused on the work they do and doing it with diligence, consistency, and rigor and joy. Even though heart doesn't feel joy, it doesn't feel sadness either, but it just keeps doing what it does. It is all about connecting you, getting you to be present in the now. When you are in the now, your mind-brain neurotransmitters, really all they see is what is now. Your mind-brain eases off from its oscillation in past and future when the heart-brain steps forward and your sensory system get tuned into what's actually occurring. You return to facts. And the facts actually are quite beautiful. I was so delighted to find that this heart is a brain too has actually been researched and talked about and written about. Those of you who've been doing my work for a long time, I always talk about the mind brain, the heart brain, the gut brain. And this concept of the 9-4-6 breath connects the mind brain, the heart brain, and the gut brain. Really connecting to the heart like we do our mind brain, doing activities that bring that feeling of centeredness and conscious awareness to experiencing a sense of calm in the heart. This is just as important as it is for your mind. Of everything that I have experienced so far, and there's so much more to experience still, I find the beyond meditation, which harmonizes the mind brain, the heart brain, and the gut brain, and gets you into the human vibe attunement, bringing that oneness between your soul presence and your human form. One of the most powerful ways of a whole and complete relaxation of your heart brain. It's a release and a relaxation of your heart brain. Sarah, I just want to check with you if there's anything coming up for you from these 3 points, because then the next lot is a very different trajectory we are moving to in terms of the 7 secrets hidden within the heart. So anything that's showing up for you?
Yeah, what was showing up is when you and I were doing the preparation for the call, just before the call, before this session, I was having some guidance that there was a link, or there is a link. Somehow the heart is so essential, and it's not just a tangible organ, but that it links our human and spirit form, soul form. So that was what I wanted to ask you, because I was feeling that it's really important for us to connect with this, to get it, like to really, really get it. So if there's anything else you'd like to share with us.
There's more that's coming. There's more that's coming to do with that.
Okay.
It truly is a being within a being. It truly is a full spectrum being.
Okay. Because what I was getting is, we think of our heart like our brain, that it's this tangible these tangible organs for our human form, and we never connect it to our spirit form and the oneness. Okay.
Yeah. We're going to come into that. We're going to come into that, just building up into it. But it's interesting. It's interesting. In heart disease is brain disease as much as it is a heart disease. And yet it is not looked at like that, and it is not necessarily considered in that way. So not every organ has a second counterpart. The kidneys do. We talked about that. The heart does. It does have a second heart. Why is that? It allows, if there's an issue with this heart muscle, your second heart will support you with that, in that pumping action. It does.
And then supporting, if we're doing the exercise you just shared with us, and supporting the second heart, that supports the health and well-being of our first heart.
Yeah, look, every organ restores itself. It is designed to autocorrect, right? So there may be blockages, and I'm not a medical doctor. So there are issues you are seeing a doctor, you need required to see a doctor, please do that. I'm literally just sharing with you what I have received and how I work with it. and it is a work in progress. I'm learning with every, literally with each of these sessions, I'm learning more and more. Just like there is so little known about our brain, and scientists do admit that. Doctors also admit that we actually don't understand so much about the brain. They don't understand so much about the mind brain, which is actually researched as a brain. Then when you understand that the heart also has that sophisticated structure of neurons and neurotransmitters and proteins and cells that are similar to the mind brain, there's practically no research done on heart, or very little research done on heart as a brain.
And the relationship between the two.
Yeah. Now, you met Phil, my ex-partner Phil, and you know that he had a stroke. You met him before he had the stroke.
Yes.
And he was a genius.
Yeah.
Like his mind was like crazy genius mind, right? And then with the stroke, he became childlike, and I would say the one thing that I realized with him is whilst he had become childlike, he hadn't become stupid. The doctors would come and talk to him loudly, slowly. He would get pissed off like a child, as if they're treating him like an idiot. So what I did, and I didn't know any of this stuff at the time, I would just say, let's come into our heart. Let's listen to our, what does your heart say? And he was able to come up with one word. At that time, I was just inventing stuff, because every time a consultant would visit him in the acute brain injury unit, he would have so much distress after that. Because, like, he could eat, he could chew, he could pick up food by himself. And he was thoroughly enjoying the taste, because all of this was new to him. So even like mashed potato became his favorite. He hated mashed potato before, but now that taste was literally like a child. And the doctors would say, no, you need, a nurse should be there to feed him. He didn't need that. But that's because there's nothing that is done on how you support the restoration of your brain in your head by utilizing your heart's brain. Now, Mary Mello, I don't know if she's here or not, but one of the things that happened to Phil was that he could not write at all. So he could not sign his name. He couldn't write anything. And there was so much that we did together that it was important even for him to give me power of attorney to carry on and conclude all of those matters required his signature, but he couldn't write anymore. Now, what I had learned from Mary is that the gut is also a brain, right? So there I was working on the heart brain, getting him to come into his wonder state with just one words, and then he would get that smile. Mary did a body of work where she connected him to the gut brain. Now the mind relaxed, the heart was present in the now, and the gut brain opened up, and Phil was able to sign his name.
Oh, wow.
Literally 4 hours later, I'd sneaked him out of the hospital. He was in acute brain injury unit. I'd sneaked him out of the hospital. We lived near Harley Street, as you know. So I was able to get him out. And then Mary did the work. Now, thinking back, I'm able to say, okay, that is what was going on. Now, but if we had not done the work where he was able to settle into his heart, he might not have been that receptive to what Mary was doing. She would still have had an impact. It might have taken several sessions, because his mind brain was oscillating past, future, past, future. And the now was only, so when the consultants were talking to him slowly and loudly, he couldn't remember the past. All he saw was that he was being treated in a way that felt like he didn't know anything. Now that I have grandkids, when I talk to my grandkids as if they don't know anything, they either go into a tantrum, even when they were little, they would go into a tantrum. And now, Elio just stomps his feet and says, I am mad. And that's what is happening with him. So it's pretty awesome to understand that the heart is a brain too. And it is in the now. In the now, there are no emotions. So it is clear. Doesn't oscillate. The heart does not oscillate. It doesn't have doesn't have any decisions to make. It just knows it is to perform a function, and it does that. How amazing it is that it is a brain, which means neurologically, we can be present in the now and fully experience the now. And that's why that experience of miracles makes our heart sing, brings a smile to our face, because all of those feeling neuroreceptors are in our heart. I just think it's such a wow understanding. Let's continue. Shall we continue, Sarah?
So just a quick reaction to that. So when we talk about our heart, our heart singing, what makes our heart singing, it's actually our heart sing. It's not the brain. It's not our mind.
Yeah.
Singing.
Yeah. And literally, when I say, okay, what's going on right now that's making your heart sing? Your heart is beating, it's singing. It's there, right? What's going on right now? Your mind brain goes zoom, focus. What's here right now? It doesn't go past future. Because you're now applying, that's why I call it a miracle lens. You're now applying a lens that is looking out into the world from the lens of the now.
Mynoo, I think there's a question by, let's see, Gail. But Mynoo said the heart is impacted by our emotions. I'm confused.
No, I'm saying the heart is in the now. It's not impacted. It's emotionless. It is a present. When I say connect to your presence, then I also often say, breathe into your heart, love, kindness, and compassion. I'm getting you to connect to your presence because the heart is present. It is emotionless, Gail. It is not impacted by our emotions. The mind brain is, yes. It actually, you feel the emotion, but your heart is not impacted by it. It keeps singing. That's a good question, Gail. So let's continue. It's really, to me, it was such a wow preparation for the human miracle. It's truly miraculous, this amazing human body. The heart is also a meridian point, a chakra point, a marma point. It's a meridian, a chakra, and a marma point. And I was like, what are these points? And what is the difference between them? They're quite different. So the chakras are energy fields, and they're energy fields that transcend consciousness and physiology. So the chakras are located in different points along the spine. The marma points are actually areas on the skin. And there are areas on the skin where there is a strong connection between consciousness and physiology. They're much larger. Chakras are along the spine. Chakras bring energy into your body the meridians send energy around your body. When the chakras and the meridians are in harmony, they are very powerful in enhancing the supply of energy in your body. From a chakra point of view, the color that is a healing color, the nurturing color, and the nourishing color for the heart is the color green. And really, we were born into this wonderful, into this container of this earth ship with so much green that surrounds us. The emotion of this region, of this chakra, is the emotion of compassion and love. So when I say to you, breathe into your heart, love, kindness, and compassion, I'm bringing you into your presence. I'm enabling you to consciously feed love, kindness, and compassion, which actually gets added to by the heart. And as you breathe out, you automatically breathe out gratitude. And with gratitude comes peace. There are very specific words that Ayurveda uses to describe the chakra of the heart. Anahata, they call it. It is an energy center, and it is affected by a few different kinds of physical health issues. So whilst we use the term heartbreak in the context of feeling hurt by someone, or hurt by a particular situation, the heart doesn't break. Physiologically, it continues. But the chakra point of the heart along the spine gets blocked. So the physiological heart continues, pumping, doesn't stop. The chakra point, which creates that flow of life force energy, actually gets blocked. It's called the heartbreak because it's a break in that energy flow. And what is it that causes a break in terms of that energy flow is the emotion of grief. And the way to release that is simply to be with it, knowing that there is some grief that is being held at a energy signature level in the cells that form your heart muscle. The heart muscle still continues, but carrying that load of grief. And that load of grief, because it's an energy signature and the heart is an important energy center point, which has a marma point associated with it, a meridian point associated with it, and the chakra associated with it, not only is it bringing energy in, it is also enabling the energy to circulate out. Then grief blocks that flow of energy. It has a direct impact on weight issues. It has a direct impact on asthma, shortness of breath, blocking of the upper part of your lungs. Physiologically, people with this unbalanced heart chakra, they often fail to recognize their own detriment because they keep putting other people's emotions first. And that's their way of remaining connected and feeling they belong because of that grief that is there at an energetic level. It is in the middle of the 7 chakras. So it acts as a medium of union between the upper chakras and the lower chakras. And it completely represents our ability to connect and communicate with others. Once you're able to unblock it, and if you can't unblock it, at least get it aligned. And there are so many online amazing chakra alignment, techniques that you can learn from. Once the heart chakra gets aligned, you don't feel so isolated anymore. Insecurity disappears, loneliness disappears. And once you get it unblocked, unblocking any chakra point is to simply be with that emotion, connected to that particular chakra, and see it dissolve and dissipate. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the marma point. Just like there are 7 chakras that we know that sit along the spine, there are 13 chakras that go beyond in the spine, in our energy field. I'm talking about the 7. Similarly, in the front of the body, there are 7 major marma points. And these are the centers of energy. And energetically, they have an impact in supporting our organism. It is the marma points that support the turning of the wheels of the chakras. Chakra is a wheel. It's a Hindi or a Sanskrit word for a wheel. So as at the marma points support the turning of the wheels of the chakra. They play a very important role in the alignment and ongoing health of the chakra. And these marma points actually control the basic and essential functions of the body. And the marma points are so important that they are related to our body tissues. And there are actually 7 types of tissues. This session is not on tissues. And we will talk about the 7 types of tissues at another session. But that is also an important building block. And these different forms of tissues are like the bioregulators. And the bioregulators not only impact us physiologically, these regulators travel through, we have 7 layers in the context of our aura. And these bioregulators regulate and harmonize these 7 layers that are in our aura. And these 7 layers of our aura are harmonized with the 7 planets in Vedic astrology. It's quite complex and pretty awesome and amazing that so much actually exists and is orchestrated like the perfect orchestra. And the conductor is our human body, and the actual conductor within the human body is our heart. It controls the pathways, and these marma, all of the marma points of the entire organism through the blood vessels that it supports. The heart is very directly connected to the respiratory system, the lymphatic system, as channel of distribution of the essence of the food that we ingest, of the nutrition that we have. The heart is also the HQ, the headquarters of what is termed in Ayurveda called ojas. Ojas are the bases, and what the heart is the headquarter of is that particular energy center that is the basis of immunity, of happiness, of health and vitality as a marma point. Remember, marmas are in front of the body. The chakras are on the spine. Heart as a muscle is inside our body. And the heart marma point is the seat of emotional intelligence. So really understanding that we can, because you can't, you don't necessarily, you feel your heart is beating, but when you consciously work with your second heart, you're making a conscious connection to your heart. You're consciously, when you do that rocking movement with your toes up, heels up, standing up, you start feeling a beautiful sense of centeredness. That emotional intelligence quotient is enriching and multiplying. Heart is one organ that literally enriches you in a full spectrum way. We're going to talk a little bit more about that, but it is the heart. You talked about the spiritual connection, Sarah. When I talk about connecting to the spirit of, the spirit of you, expressing the spiritedness of you, your heart, with everything that we've learned so far, really supports you to do that. There is no other organ that does it better than the heart. I'm going to talk about the next 3 points in a moment. But I just want to check, Sarah, if there's anything that is showing up for you that you wish to share, comment on, or question.
No, I'm ready. I'm totally ready to go into the next 2 points. Thank you.
Yeah.
And let me check if anybody has any. No, nothing yet from everybody participating. Thank you.
Just before I go into the next one, now I've heard about chakras, I've heard about meridian points. And now I also have read about marma points, didn't know what to do or how to work with it. And there's a doctor that, Sarah, you certainly heard me talk about, Dr. Musharraf Ali, right?
Yes, in London.
Yeah. Yes. And so he sometimes takes people to his clinic in India. And there was a particular point where the thing that is really powerful about him is his ability to diagnose the root cause of anything. He's a medical doctor, and then also a doctor of that has done Chinese medicine and acupressure, acupuncture, an Ayurvedic doctor, a Unani medicine doctor, that has a really good understanding of your immune system. So there was a point where Prince Charles, at the time he was prince, sponsored a collection of NHS doctors and specialists to go with Dr. Ali to Rajasthan. And he would teach us. And so, I mean, I'm interested in this, and Dr. Ali knew it. So he also got me to be a part of the training he was doing. So he would teach us how to diagnose. And then in the afternoon, we were staying with the king of that particular province in his palace. The king would send out his drummers into the villages, saying anybody having chronic conditions that they're suffering from for the last 2 years, come over. We have doctors from abroad that have come and will support you. So the people would come and we would practice. our diagnostic abilities. And we had an Ayurvedic doctor, a Unani doctor with us who would treat the patients. We were experimenting, but we weren't diagnosing or prescribing anything. I, of course, was better at diagnosing exactly what's wrong because Dr. Ali was our lead examiner. The other doctors had so much stuff that they had learned in terms of medical practice that their diagnosis would often be wrong. And that's not the point. I'm just sort of mentioning that by the by. What I want to say here is there was one particular point. We went into this temple. This temple must have at least 1,000 people in it. It was filled with people, like filled with people. And it's a temple that was known for curing stroke victims. And we go in, and that was the day when Dr. Ali was going to do a whole session on Marma points. And we must have, and we would go patient by patient. Dr. Ali would go in, and he would start working on the different Marma points. It wasn't acupressure. There's a form of massage that you do to reactivate the neuroreceptors of different parts of the body. And it was that reactivation of the neuroreceptor meant that this person who was lying for years would stand up and start walking. And of course, everybody thought it was a miracle, but he was explaining to us exactly what he was doing. And it was in preparation for our session today that all of those memories flooded back. And he kept saying that, look, I'm not using anything other than the Marma areas. And now I understand what he was doing was really getting that, reactivating happiness in the person because the person had actually given up on themselves, getting that flow of energy and vitality going. And he would always do a very specific work on the calf muscles. And he kept saying, I'm working on the heart. I'm working on the heart, with the calf muscles. And that was getting that emotional intelligence back, because the actual mental intelligence was operating from past and future of this patient who had not walked for all these years. So getting that emotional intelligence activated, the remembrance was returning. And there was a sequence in which he would do it. Now I understand what he was doing. So let's go to the fifth point. Oh my gosh, 5 minutes left. And I've been talking about this, so we don't need to go into it in any great detail now, which is the fifth secret is the heart, mind, and gut connection. In the context of the brain, having a knowingness that we have 3 brains, mind brain, heart brain, gut brain, and that they have 3 very different and distinct functions, allows us to bring remembrance back at any point when any particular incident or accident might have occurred. So just like in the incident I talked about, when Dr. Ali is working on the Marma points of people that are supposedly stroke victims, after he stimulated the Marma points and the vitality is starting to return, and there's a smile that is starting to form in the person's face, he would go into the knees, working on the heart, reactivating the emotional intelligence. Remembrance would return, and the mind brain would relax. And then the person was able to connect the dots again. He also did very specific work on certain points in the gut area that brought in that reconnection to the inner wisdom that the person was born with. And that enabled that shift to occur. So there is a condition of stroke, but a lot of stroke victims are not stroke victims. It is a loss of remembrance that can be reactivated. Just like with Phil, he was a stroke victim, and there was a big part of him that required to be treated in that way. But there were so many abilities and functionalities that were all clubbed under he's had a stroke, but actually they could be restored. And some of them have been restored because we worked from the heart and the gut connection with Mary Malloy's biodynamic medicine, the heart connection with me really bringing him back to childlike wonder within himself. So the past future anxiety could immediately calm and ease off. The sixth secret is that the heart is a full spectrum being in itself. It is a being within our being. It is full spectrum. Yes, it is physiological and has many functions, like we've heard, that of a muscle, that of a brain. You know, it also has its own ability to impact your thoughts. When you are being present, you become thoughtless. It's a very powerful axis. You know, how does beyond meditation, in such a short space of time where you are constantly listening to my guided voice, brings about that very deep centeredness and thoughtlessness? It's because you go into your presence. You know, the emotions, any emotional distress eases off because when you have your emotional intelligence quotient up, anything that might be affecting your intellect can actually bring you back into your center. Heart is the connection to the spiritedness of you. And your presence is the expression of your spiritedness. Social dynamics don't impact the heart. The heart keeps performing. When you realize that, you're able to return to your center and communicate with strength. And your heart is a very important activator of your internal environment. Creates a terrain that is conducive to you living a miraculous life. The seventh secret is the heart only has a laser beam focus on the now. A now is here and now in this moment. It only remains stationed with strong roots and a foundation of in the now. As long as you occupy this human body, you have a strong foundation that is powerfully enabled, protected, guarded, activated ongoingly by your heart. I bring you back, Sarah, to conclude our session.
Okay, we do have a question from Mina. She wants to know can we press the calf muscle to activate the muscle heart? And also for me to share, and also Mina, Mina had introduced me to a Marma specialist, and I took a series, we took a series of, this was during COVID, the pandemic. We did a series, a long series of learning to activate the Marma points.
You now you know the importance of it.
Yes, I didn't realize exactly. I knew that it was important, but the connection that you're now making is new.
Yeah.
But I did learn about the Marma points and where they are.
Yeah.
And he's an expert in India, if anybody is interested.
Yeah. Now, I want to answer this question about massaging the heart muscle through the calf. Yes, you can do it. It's quite deep though. So it's quite difficult to get to that point, hence the pumping action, or there is something called matrix rhythm, which there are certain devices which create a vibration of different types. If you put that on your calf, that is a much better way of massaging that than with your fingers, because it's difficult to get to that depth, and it can be quite painful. Now, when Dr. Ali was working with the stroke victims, we didn't have any of those, and they were lying down and they intellectually did not believe they could move. So he had to use his fingers to massage it, right?
Mynoo, can I? Oh, okay.
And you know that there is a marma, that there are marma points in your calf muscle. So you can use the marma techniques. Yes, you could use those. Absolutely. I mean, each of these points we could have a session on, you know, and the idea was.
Sorry. Could we also use a vibration? I know, for example, Master L, who I know really well, uses both vibration and pressure with his fingers. Is it also, can you activate through vibration?
Yeah. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. I mean, another thing that really supports the heart, by the way, is it's chili. It's a vasodilator, particularly cayenne pepper. You know, there's a not to be done all the time, but if you feel any form of constriction, just a teeny, like 1/10 of a drop of a cayenne pepper oil under your tongue, boom, opens your heart up really well.
Whoa.
You know, I know for a fact that mustard oil is often used in India, but it has to be good quality, pure mustard oil to massage your calf. I never understood the reason for it, but again, it's quite penetrating. Mustard oil. Don't just use it. It's literally like, you know, has a spiciness of mustard. So I'm just sharing, and now I understand. That's what was going on. It wasn't the oil that was used in the rest of the body, but in the calf, my granddad always said, okay, we use mustard oil here. So anyway, it's quite.
Anyway, to conclude, what my takeaway, one of my many takeaways tonight, is just that the heart is not just a physical, concrete, tangible organ. It's much more intricate, sophisticated, and it's connected to other parts of our body, and it is supported by other parts of our body, in this case, the heart, the calves, and that when you use in the Beyond Meditation and conversation, when you talk about, and we actually have an experience of the heart, mind, and gut brains, that there is a relatedness there too. There's a connectedness, and it's essential for us to support all of it as one.
Yeah. So it's, I mean, with this series, I'm just like awestruck, truly respectful of this human body, you know. So thank you, everyone, for being here. Have a wonderful rest of the evening and a wonderful rest of the day. And there's a lovely rain going on outside here in Mumbai. Okay, bye-bye, everyone. I declare our session complete. Thank you.
Namaskar.
Namaskar.